Hey guys, happy Motivational Monday. Today I have Melvin Johnson here with us today, and we're going to talk about how to get a loan if you have bad credit. So stay tuned. Hey guys, what's going on? Today we're going to talk about how you can get a loan even if you have bad credit. Melvin was an expert in credit card repair, and he's stepping into this new territory of helping people buy their first homes and really get into the depths of how you can take those steps to the next level. So if you're trying to stay motivated in your goals and you think, I have bad credit, how can I even get a home? We're here to talk to you guys today about that solution, right?
Yep.
So how to get that loan, how to get that home that you're looking for, and what steps to get you there. So
Yep.
you want to take it off?
Yeah. So again, thank you, Chris, for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the opportunity. And like most of you guys watching, I was someone maybe who had bad credit, or you maybe had money, but or you had a lot of money, bad credit, or great credit, not a lot of money. I was on the spectrum where I had a decent amount of money to make the down payment on the property that I was looking to acquire, but my credit was good, but my DTI was too high, right? So I had a 720, but my student loans were like out the roof. So and it was over the 47%. I think that the lender I was going through, they wanted to see if they were going to make an exception, but it was still higher than that. So it forced me to sort of figure out how it is that I was going to sort of lower my utilization, because I didn't need to improve my credit score. But how was I going to decrease the utilization in such a short time? Because we had over $60,000 of student loans, so that's a pretty significant chunk if you have student loans and you know anything about it. But for those of you who have bad credit, you guys have an easier route, I would say, than I did, trying to lower a DTI. Because you guys could simply reach out to me or anyone who is really good. Watch out for the people who aren't that great, but for anyone who deals in the field of credit repair, this is really our bread and butter. We love guys like you, we love people who have those challenges of credit, and really helping them to sort of get to a position where that's no longer an issue. So if you have bad credit, one of the things that we want to do for you here at Marsh Capital is we do a simple consultation, right? We say, hey, what do you have on your file that is stopping you from being able to obtain a home loan? And a lot of times it's people have hit rough patches in life, Chris. I've seen divorces, which are terrible situations. I don't like them in any event. Health situations, and just simply maybe making mistakes a little early on before they fully mature. And, they got stuck in a situation where now it's affected their credit. And although the event has happened 3 to 5 to 7, 10 years ago, and 10 years is actually much longer than the FCRA requires an account to reflect, especially if it's negative. Sometimes that's the case, because the credit bureaus are not on your side, right? They make money off you having bad credit, because when you have bad credit, Chris, what they do is they solicit your information to predatory lenders, right? So they have no incentive on making sure that something is reporting accurately. Although they may say they do. They really don't, right? So the lower the credit score, the more money they make, because the more the solicitors are willing to pay for your bad information. So if you have bad credit, you want to make sure that you examine the credit file, right? Make sure the names are spelled correctly. Make sure the addresses are appearing correctly. Make sure, there are no aliases on your credit file. We had a guy whose name was, Marvin Williams. His name was reflecting as T-Bone, and we didn't understand why that was the case.
Well, and even to that point, you wanted to know what and how your credit works, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to hire an expert, that's fine. You don't need to worry about it. But a lot of people, I think they don't even look at the details of how their credit works. So like a credit utilization rate, if you don't know what that is, then you should probably be talking to someone like yourself to understand how credit works. A credit utilization, for people who don't know, if you have $1,000 credit limit and you're using $700 on a credit card, then that's a 70% utilization rate. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
So you want to make sure they want to see for a higher credit under 2%?
Well, under 30% would be safe, right? But if you're going to be someone who's taking advantage of the credit, you definitely want to keep it within that 1 to 3%, carrying a 1 to 3% monthly balance,
So if you don't understand these things, you
Yeah.
need to be reaching out to professionals. If you want to stay educated, there are people who can educate you
For sure.
on your credit scores. But now, let's say I did do all my research. I have a few credit cards. I've had a long credit history, but I had a bankruptcy, or I had, you know, a misfortune with my health, or my kid's student loan.
Okay.
Something major happened. And I'm looking now for a professional to help me find my first home. What's the route that you would take or direct someone to take to getting that loan?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. The first thing, I would stay away from any credit repair specialist that say that they can do something in 30 days or under, right? There's rules in play for a specific reason. FCRA actually prohibits us from guaranteeing anything, right? Even though I know there may be a higher likelihood of this account being removed in 30 days, I cannot guarantee anything, right? So that's my disclaimer. If you're an individual who are looking to, you know, you've learned about your credit and you're wondering what the next step is, you know, there are some tips to helping you, right? So you may have a family member or a friend, right, who has great credit, whose utilization is under 30%. And they may say, hey, this may help impact your score positively, because some individuals just don't have the history. It's, you know, they have bad credit, but that's the only thing that's reflecting.
What
right?
are the 6 things that affect people's credit?
So your payment history, which is 35% of your credit score, right? You have your utilization, which is 30%. You have your length of credit, which is another 15%. And then you have the hard inquiries, which is 10%. And then you have the type of debt. So it's like the mixed credit. Do you have a mixture of installment loans, credit cards, card note, those kind of things, you know, HELOC, all of those things factor in. And that is the full makeup or your FICO score. So, you know, you want to make sure that the most important is the payment history. One missed payment can hurt you. You know, banks like to see 99 to 100% of actual accurate payment history, meaning you have not missed, out of 100 payments, you've only missed 1 to 0, right? So imagine if you only had credit for a year, which gives you only possible 12 months to actually have a payment reflecting. Well, if you miss 1 payment, that's going to significantly hurt your chances. You're going to have to make, you know, what is it? The number is 87 more payments, 83 or 88 more payments before you can actually reflect on a 99% basis. Now imagine how much more it's going to go down if you continue to miss before you hit that threshold. And the utilization is the trickiest one, because it's the easiest to manipulate. You know, as a real estate investor, I love this trick, because we use our credit quite a bit, you know, so I know that if I use, you know, maybe a credit card to finance sort of a smaller rehab portion of a project, maybe I paid a contractor for doing flooring, or maybe I had to go into and use it for, you know, gas or anything. Let's just say anything. My utilization is higher. However, I know that if I'm able to pay that off, because you have 2 payment dates on credit cards. A lot of people don't know this. They think that it's just one, right? You have the payment date, which was when the actual card issuer recommends you making a minimum payment. And then you have the reporting date. So the reporting date is the most important date. You know, the payment date is great too, because it records your history. You want to make sure that you're making at least the minimum balance. And a lot of times, if you had a card that was anything under $5,000, your monthly payment, even if you exhausted that entire line, if you got that card in the introductory period, meaning when you first get the card for the first year, you're maybe spending 1% of that total balance, right, as a monthly payment. So 1% of the 1% of 5,000 is a $50 monthly payment on the credit card, right? So, and that's if you exhausted the entire line. Now, the good thing about that is you can make the monthly payment, and then if you're concerned about the utilization, that doesn't have to all be in by the minimum payment date, right? You're more concerned about the reporting date, when your card issuer actually reports to the credit bureaus, right? The activity for the month. So for me, a lot of times I'm making the monthly payment in advance, 2 to 3 weeks in advance, and then my monthly reporting date is actually 10 days after my reporting date. So my reporting date, my minimum payment date is on the 13th. And a lot of the times my reporting date is on the 24th. So I have 11 days in between that time frame that I can actually get my utilization all the way down so that it reflects positively to the bureaus. and keep my score as high.
Now, these are changes that people can actually take action and do for themselves. Now, the one that we were talking about earlier is that they can't do is their history.
Yeah.
Right? And that's something that they would want an authorized user for.
Absolutely.
So what's the solution to getting an authorized user? Let's say my parents or family, like no one I know is willing to get me as an authorized user. Is there other options?
Yes, there are other options. And again, with everything, be safe, right? You have people out who are, soliciting services that they're not able to provide. Here at Marsh Capital, we have a licensing agreement with all of our, we call them sponsors, all of our sponsors who are authorizing individuals on their card. And actually, we do it as a funding service. So, most of our clients are coming to us for real estate. So we don't even charge them until the account reflects on the report. So you have companies out who are very honest, and then you have some that are very dishonest. But in a nutshell, you can pay for authorized user accounts. They are nothing more than an individual who has a high credit limit, and then also you look for those who have the longevity, the history. I always say 7 years is a sweet spot if you're wanting to have it to really impact the score. But on average, I've seen a 70 to 80 point increase just by adding individuals who have strong authorized user accounts. I've seen at least on average about a 70, 75 point jump in that.
So just to break this down just a little bit. So what an authorized user is, for our viewers who aren't familiar with the terminology here, is if I have a credit score of, let's say, 600, and I want to get an FHA loan. I'm going to live in the home. It's not an investment property. I'm actually going to live there.
Yep.
And I want to get the bank to give me a loan. They said, no, your credit score is too low. And I'm like, well, the only part of my credit history, that reason it's so low, is because I've only had credit for 6 months. Maybe I had, foreclosure or something in the past or something that brought it down. And I'm looking at you now going, hey, how can I increase my credit score? And you're telling me I can have someone else's credit score almost like shared with me, so that I can take their credit and use their history of good credit as my own.
Yep, absolutely. CNN did a special on it, and they called it piggybacking, is what they called it.
It's a commodity, essentially.
It is. It really is, because what can happen is I've taken individuals personally in our company who've had no credit history at all. They were either recent college grads or individuals that were told just to stay away from credit. And I've seen them go as high up to 748, So... And you see these kind of jumps all the time. So, yes, you can. Now, I will caution this. There has been a sort of a resistance to authorized users only. So if the file is you only have authorized user accounts on there, you may have to shop around a little bit. It's not impossible, right? But I know that there's some lenders out who look at having only authorized users as being something that they just won't deal with, So, but other than that, yeah, authorized users are a great way to sort of share someone else's history on their credit file, have it reflect on your actual credit profile, and increase your score drastically, So yes, that is absolutely the case. If you are someone who are having credit challenges, or maybe just you don't have a score, I would strongly recommend authorized user accounts with somebody First and foremost, I would always say family or friend, but if you don't have a family or friend who's willing to do it, or may not know enough about it to feel comfortable doing it, then you could always reach out to us at, www.moshcapital.com.
We'll leave it in the comment box below.
We'll leave it in the comment box below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We need all the support. We love helping, and we don't want you guys to miss out on the cool tips that appear on this channel. But back to what I was going, if you are someone who's in that position, feel free to reach out. Reach out to Chris. Chris can get a hold of me. We'll leave links below for you guys. And but yeah, that is definitely the route that you could take. That's an option for you.
So that's just it. Change your mindset that you can't do something because of a bad credit score. There is always a solution. It's all about who you know and what you do. So if you know someone that can do it, this guy, or someone like him in your neighborhood or town, they exist everywhere. Yeah. You can do this. You can take advantage of these opportunities, and you can get the home that you were looking for, even if you have a bad credit score.
Absolutely.
There are options out there for you.
Absolutely.
So change your behavior, change your mindset, and let's get you guys motivated to do want with your dreams.
Yes, sir.
Like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for getting more videos like this. Thank you.
Thank you.